As with most instruments, paying attention to the source is very important. With electric guitars, this is no different. You have to not only pay attention to the player and his tone, but also your mic placement on the guitar player's amp. If you haven't watched the video about miking electric guitars, now might be a good time to do that. Here, we have 4 electric guitar channels. Now we only have 2 players. We've double mic'd these amps, each with an SM57 and a KSM44. So the first channel here is an SM57 on the first guitar player's amp, and the second channel will be the 44 on his amp. And I'll let you hear the difference in these 2 mics and their placement. So first the 57. And now the 44. And the 57 again. Now you notice that the 57 has a lot more mid-range, but not as much high frequencies and not as much low frequencies compared to the 44. And the 44 has a little more sparkle on the top than the 57 does. So I'll let you hear them again and just pay attention to the differences. And which mic you use really depends on your room and the song and what you're going for. A lot of times if the player's tone is a little on the harsh side, then you can choose which mic you use based on this to make things a little more pleasant in the house. But he can still get the tone he wants in his ears just by using 2 different mics and different mic placement. So again, I'll let you hear the 57 and the 44. Sometimes I'll mix the 2 mics together in the house to get the tone that I need. Now this might be a good case for that because the 2 mics are very different but complementary. So we'll pull these in together and see what happens. One thing you have to be aware of when you add these 2 mics is a lot of times the lower frequencies will sum together and make things muddier, so you'll end up EQing some of that out of each mic. So let's see what happens when we add them together. So first the 57 and then I'll bring in the 44. And now I'll pull the 57 out a little bit. That's just the 44. And the 57 coming back in. Then I'll pull the 44 out now. So this is actually really nice with both mics in. To a nice sound. So now that we want to use both mics together, we'll go and EQ the mics a little bit just to show you some frequencies. I'll start with just the 57 and we'll go in and do some EQ. Let's pull up our EQ for the 57. And normally on electric guitars, I'll put a high pass filter on, but I don't want to go too high. I usually go no higher than 100 Hertz. This gets rid of any rumble, but preserves the tone of the guitar. When EQing a guitar, it really depends on what you're going for. There is no one-size-fits-all solution for EQing a guitar. So I'll show you what some of the frequencies do, and then you can decide what you need in your situation. So we'll start in our low mids. We'll make our Q a little narrower so you can hear what's going on. Now this is a 1K. 1K tends to make guitars sound honky. Here it almost sounds nasally, as if someone was talking through their nose, but it's a guitar. Now if we sweep this down a little lower, you can actually add some warmth to the guitar. Now you might not want to add as much as I'm adding, and you can make your Q a little wider. Now if your guitar sound is muddy, you can take some of this out and really clean things up. But as you hear, if you overdo it, things get really thin really fast. So we might add just a little bit of that to this guitar player's tone. Now we'll go up to the mid-highs. The mid-highs are a really important frequency on an electric guitar. Too much and it can really be painful, but not enough and you lose all clarity. So we'll add some. Now, as you can tell, this would be really painful and really annoying in the house. Now, if you take too much away, there's no clarity to the guitar player's notes at all. And now we'll go to the high frequencies. The high frequencies add a nice air to the tone of the guitar. It also adds the fuzz sound to a distorted electric guitar. This can be a really good thing if you want more of it. Or if you're getting too much of that sound, you can take some higher frequencies away. Now I'll take off the shelf so that I can swoop around a little more. So now you can hear there's a lot of fuzz on this guitar player's tone when I add these higher frequencies around 10K. If I take too much away, again, it sounds really dark and muffled, and you don't have a lot of clarity there in the tone. So that's EQing an electric. Now, when we add the 44 back in, you'll naturally gain some of those high frequencies back. If you listen, here it comes. Alright, now let's talk about gating an electric guitar. First thing we'll do is pull up our dynamics, and we will set our range, attack, hold, and decay times. And we'll also go ahead and turn that on. Our range, it can be pretty steep, so you can leave it all the way to infinity if you want to, which just means that it's completely off. Our attack, I'll actually slow it down just a little bit, so that the gate kind of fades open instead of just popping open. But you don't want it too slow. You don't want to miss those first notes. We'll just do that so that you don't hear a drastic pop. Hold time, I'm going to actually go really long because when the guitar player is ending a phrase or a song, they often let a note sustain out, and the note might drop below the threshold, but you still want to hear the note. So if you set your hold time and your decay times really long, it'll stay open for a really long time and let you catch that entire sustain of the note without getting an awkward gate closing sound at the end of a phrase or song. So I'll actually go, I'll go around 1.5 seconds on my hold time, and my decay, I'll actually go probably around 2 seconds to start with. So this will give us a nice 3.5 second fade out time after the guitar player's tone has dropped below the threshold. Now that we have those settings roughed in, we'll go to the end of a phrase and set our threshold so that the gate closes when we want it to, and then opens again when the guitar player starts to play. So here we go. So we might want to raise our threshold because any little bump makes the gate open. And there he goes playing again. That's probably pretty close. So let's go back and do that one more time and make sure that everything opens and closes like it should. So we could probably actually make our decay time a little faster, and our hold as well. So now you have a nice fade out when the phrase ends. Nothing too abrupt, you won't hear the noise just suddenly go away. And then the gate opens quickly once the guitar player starts to play again so you don't miss anything.